Hey, everyone. It is the Let's Get Loud podcast with
Jose.
Jose. I want to say J and A, and then I want to say Jose, so I went Jose. I
It's
mean, it
tricky
works.
that name Jose, hey?
It's tr it's a tricky one.
It's not tricky for me, but it seems tricky. And just the fact that your name has the accent aigu, do you get
Oh,
upset when people don't even try to put the accent aigu, or just we've
oh,
accepted that like the English people are
yes.
not?
Not worried.
Okay.
Yeah, not worried about it at all. I feel like no
Okay.
one like writes things right now. Like no one writes my name. I'm not like, oh, you wrote my name wrong.
But like on social, like if I wrote like Jose,
Mm.
like
No, that's fine.
okay.
I think the one that that it's more noticeable is when there's only one E.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, oh,
Yes.
not Jose, but like, fine. It's fine.
I love that this is the conversation we're having like 15 years into our friendship.
Yes. Do you like, is it okay if, oh my God, that's funny. You're right. Okay, well, hello everyone. We were chatting right before this about our boot camp is tomorrow, Power
Power
Hour.
Hour. I don't know why we renamed it, and it's so hard for us.
You just like slid that in a conversation, like Power Hour, and then it just became its own life.
It's Power Hour. It is a
Power Hour.
calorie deficit power hour.
Okay, why? Let's share with our audience right now why we are still talking about calorie deficit. Because, like, I feel like the one part of calorie deficit that I hate is that the word calories is in there and it's so
Ah,
diety to me,
yep.
and I don't
Yes.
like it. Like, I'm like,
Yes.
oh, like often when I think of like even my followers, I'm like, I wonder what kind of relationship they have with even those words.
Yep.
And then they have this perspective of me like, oh, she's talking about calorie deficit.
Yes.
So like there's a little part of me that like is like, oh, can we call it something else? Like basically the science behind a body and how it loses weight. But we are still talking about it because that is the only way that you're going to lose weight your way. It's the only way that you free yourself from diet culture is understanding calorie deficit. So you choose if you want to be in a calorie deficit, but learning about it and knowing about it and using it is a tool.
Well, I mean, you and I were kind of having a conversation, and behind the scenes, you guys, I was like calorie deficit, and Jose's like,
I know.
if you're watching on YouTube. And like, I never considered well, I did consider, but maybe didn't give it the depth of the thought that you did, shocking, behind the relationship with the word calorie deficit. Now,
Yeah.
if people follow us and listen to us for any extended period of time, they realize our intentions and how we're using that word. But what I realize is you're not passionate about teaching people how to create a calorie deficit. That's why it feels exhausting to you.
Yeah.
You are passionate about helping people create weight loss their way.
Yes.
But in order to do that,
I have to teach
have
them about calorie deficit.
they need to understand, experience, and embrace calorie deficit in order to start building
Yeah.
weight loss their way.
Yeah. And heal all the bullshit from diet culture. And that's the freedom now. If you can heal that, then we can move on to you actually not putting yourself on a diet. And as much as people can like be our followers and know that our intentions are never to our intentions are not diet culture focused at all. It's literally like if you speak to a man and you say calorie deficit, there is no emotion. Like Jeff would be like, yeah, calorie deficit. That's how a human body loses weight. Like zero, like rational. A woman, the minute you say calorie deficit, they think calorie tracking, calorie this, calorie that, losing
I
weight.
think
Like,
it's just the word calorie.
yeah,
It's the
the
word
word calorie, like, it
calorie.
really triggers a lot of people. And so I guess my question to our audience right now is like, how did that make you feel? Like, you know what do you have even a good relationship with the word freaking calories? And when we say calorie deficit, does it trigger diety, icky feelings, you know? So
You know
I
what?
think,
It's interesting too. I realized that like I don't I try not to use the word, I don't use the word calorie around my kids,
right? Okay.
which is weird if you think about it, because calorie is just the word to describe the amount of
Yeah,
energy in food. I say energy. And the reason why is I'm actually trying to protect them from my relationship with the word
I
calorie. Do you know
see.
what I mean? It's me that has that relationship with the
Right.
word calorie.
Yeah.
It's
We don't
interesting.
talk about calories. Yeah, I don't even talk about, yeah. I don't talk about food with my kids that much. Actually, Dia, she lately has been saying like, is this healthy? Like she keeps saying that and drives me insane. I'm like, please stop asking me if something is healthy. Like I just like I'm like, let's not like, do you want to eat that? And like, yes or no. Know what I mean? And I'm like, you just ate peas. What do you think? Like, how did it make you feel after eating? Like she loves those like snap peas, whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're healthy. First of all, they're green. But
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like it's a vegetable, tons of nutrients, yes. But please know that everything has its own like space, you know what I mean? And time. And like right
Mhm.
now, that's what you wanted to eat. So, and I'm like,
It's more
I think
like when
how
I'm
it makes
having,
you feel.
why did you say? Sorry.
It's more like how it makes you feel.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's interesting, but it's more like if my kids are like, "Can I have another cookie or something?" I'll be like, "Do you know what? There was actually quite a bit of energy in what you just consumed. Like, why don't we see if you're still full? Like, or if you're
Right.
still hungry?"
Yeah.
Like, that's the depth of the conversation that I'm having
Yes,
with
yes.
them.
And I think that food is just more of a thing at your house. Like it's more like because
Yeah.
it's very traditional for you. It's very like familial. Like for us, food is food. Like we don't like we don't even acknowledge like we're so not and it's not it just that's how it is in my house. But I
Hmm.
feel like for you, there's more like we're baking, we're doing this, we're like there's
Yeah.
a lot around food.
Yeah.
Whereas us, it's just in the pantry and you go eat when you're
Yeah.
hungry. You know what I mean? So
Alfie's been loving, I stopped buying crackers just because for me, there's just like, it's just super highly processed, no nutrients. I'm like, let's try and like, if we eliminate, like I eliminated like granola bars, if I eliminate having them in the house, they can't grab them, right?
yes, oh, yeah,
So I'm like, I want to swap. So I brought nuts, which is amazing. And Alfie's like in love right now with making himself a little trail mix.
yum.
But like his container one day was like, I was like, buddy, just so you know, there's a lot of energy in nuts. Like I want him to like know that.
Yeah.
And then he chooses. And he's
Yes.
like super active right now.
So cute,
Um,
huh?
he's doing planks before bed. Did I tell you that?
No.
Every night he's up to 40 seconds.
Oh, and is this like a plank challenge between like footballers? Just him.
I think that he is like a little bit of the like I want to have muscles. Like
Okay.
he's starting to like because he's kind of working out with his like the football and he's like his body is changing
Right.
significantly and
Yes.
you can tell he's kind of like okay,
There's so much that happens with their bodies at Alfie's.
crazy.
Know what I mean? Like think about it. Like he's probably gonna grow so much. Like he's gonna be taller, and then like all of a sudden like slim to this to that to
It is
and
crazy.
like it's stick on whoa. Because remember how Alfie was so thin, like the
So
tiniest human
we thought his head looked too big for his
for his
body.
body. Yeah, exactly. Like they.
And if I showed you a picture of him a year ago when we were in Mexico, he was carrying some extra weight on him.
Mm,
And like nothing happened. We didn't, nothing changed in our
no, no.
lifestyle. It's just like he grew and stuff. It's just
Yeah.
interesting how they go.
Yes, of course. Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
It is very interesting to watch them do their thing. Okay, so tomorrow we are hosting a power hour. And what do we want out of this for them? Like
yeah.
we've done calorie deficit boot camps over
Yes.
and over.
Yes. So back to that conversation. Jose and I realized there's work to do in the world where people are still seeking out. Like, I'm sorry, maybe it was me seeing people rub cream on their stomachs and think that that is going to create weight loss, and just still looking for the magic formula, right?
For me, it's like just they're still, I can't believe that society is still like separating living in a thinner body from like how they live their lives. Like
I
it's like,
know.
you know what I mean? Like I'm like, like the fact, like the cream or the gummies or the whatever, like, but your life, like you still have to wake up and eat and do the things that, you still do you want to move your body not for weight loss? Like it's like they're not creating a life. You get what I mean?
There's just still so much confusion around how weight
Yes.
loss works
Yeah.
and disconnect between working on creating habits and lifestyles. And so,
Mhm.
anyways, this whole conversation is happening with Jose and I. I'm like, let's do a power hour.
Yeah.
Where we are going to talk about calorie deficit. We've talked about that a million times though, guys. Power hour is going to be a little bit different because first of all, we're going to hit you with like rapid fire facts
Mm.
and we're going to leave a good chunk of space for you to ask us anything.
Mhm.
So we want to help you with your specific calorie deficit
Question.
questions, concerns, problems.
I think this is a great model to do because it's so interesting to get into their brains of like, oh, that's what's holding them back. Like that thought, or that belief, and like we would have never thought that someone would think that, and so there's like so many things that people tell us on the internet that we're like, oh, like they're like, oh, I don't know what to eat for breakfast. I'm like, the fact that you think that you don't know what to eat for breakfast, the fact that you think that that's the issue is the issue, and not the fact like you've been eating breakfast. So how long have you been on earth? Like you figured it out. So like there's that piece that I'm like I love about the Q&A. It's just like getting into their brains a little bit more and being able to actually coach them through their own calorie deficit confusions. I think that's really smart. I like it.
Well, we've been doing that within our membership. So we've been doing a
Yeah.
group coaching every Monday. It's usually like an hour, and I end up coaching a couple people at the same time. And what I'm realizing through that more one-on-one individual conversation coaching is like often what people think is the problem isn't actually the
Yeah.
problem. And by me prompting them and us digging, we can first figure out what the problem is, because you're
Mhm.
not going to fix the problem if you think the problem is something that it isn't the problem.
Right. Yeah, you're like staying behind something that's not even the problem, and the
Like
problem.
you think your problem is X, so you're looking for a solution for X, but your problem is actually
Actually, you're
Y.
probably not even looking for a solution for X. Like, there's just like, oh, X is my problem. And
You're
I'm like,
right.
actually, X is not even your problem. It's actually Y, but you've like stood behind X being your problem for this whole time. And you know what? Just because it's like making me think of it, like I'm thinking about like where we've lost sight of just calorie deficit being the foundation of how a body loses weight. What, a decade ago, 2 decades ago? I don't know how when, but right now we're just hiding behind a lot of whether it's like we're finding so many other reasons why we are like individually struggling with weight loss. And I'm like, but it's like at the end of the day, whether it is menopause, hormonal, this, that, I'm special, you're special, we're all fucking special. At the end of the day, if you are a human breathing, you still have to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight. And it's like we haven't like reconnected to that. So we stay behind like I'm menopausal, so whatever it is, what it is. And I'm like there's something there. Yeah.
And even if you are going through menopause and your hormones are impacting the way that your body is functioning, yes, we're not saying that's not a thing. Yes,
Yeah. Yes, it is a
but
thing. Yeah.
but still, it's not that calorie deficit doesn't work while you're in perimenopause. It's that if you're not losing weight, you're not in a calorie deficit. Like
It's
when
gonna look different because your body is functioning different. Like,
Exactly. So it's like, again, I've had conversations with people yesterday that said calorie deficit didn't work for me. And I'm like, that's not a thing.
that's
Like,
not a thing.
not a thing.
And we're not saying like you're wrong. We're actually saying that's not a thing. Like what you're saying is not how that works.
And what's so important is they understand, because like maybe what you were doing wasn't creating weight loss, but it's not because calorie deficit didn't work. That makes people feel broken.
Yes. And sometimes they like, and I'm like, do you like to feel like it's not accessible to you? And if your answer is yes, peace. Like, you know what I mean? Like, then keep going. Like at the end of the day, like we can't make you want to get out of the box.
And you know what? The whole like conversation with like hormones and stuff, obviously that's a touchy conversation. It's something I
Yeah.
really stood away from before I had kind of entered that phase of my life.
Right.
But the more that I learn, I'm like, oh, okay. So if I truly believe the reason I'm not losing weight is because of my hormones, here's the list of 5 things I can do today that are free that will help my hormone health.
Right.
Are you doing those 5 things?
Right. Yeah. They're not even doing the things that help their bodies be better and feel better.
So it's like if
Yeah.
you truly believe that it is your
Yeah.
hormones, eat more nutrient dense foods,
Yeah.
drink your water, move your body, lift weights, take supplements,
Good
like
sleep.
get good sleep. It's the basics.
It is the basics, and that should be important to you when you're 22, but like, you know what I mean? Like they're not as needed. I feel like to feel fine, you know? I also feel like we need to work with our bodies. Like we need to stop thinking like our bodies is against us. Like it just is telling you something like what you used to do is not making me feel good. We're getting older, we're changing. I
Yeah.
don't know, things are happening, and you need to like be in a space of like, hey, this is it. Like I can't switch though. Like there's no switch. Like
And work with our bodies and our environment and our
yeah,
resources. So it's
resources.
like instead of like fighting against, oh, I'm in perimenopause or oh, I'm really busy, it's like this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
What can I do?
Yeah.
Anyways, this is not meant to be the point of the conversation, guys, but we can't help ourselves. Obviously, you
Can't
can
help
see
it.
that we are passionate. If we can help more women feel control understand what's happening in their
I
bodies,
feel like it's
not accessible to them, not
really
feel
important.
broken. That is what we want. That is the
That's really
purpose.
important to us. Like, we don't like the conversation where you're telling us you're broken. All that we want you to know is that you're not. Like, you're not, and you have access, create it, create awareness, like be in control. And I think it's like such a like it can be an eye-opening conversation, but it's also like solution-based conversation and not just like shutting down the door. Like, you are not broken. You have access to feeling better. You could do this, 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 this. If you choose not to, that's a different conversation. So sign
So
up. Sign up.
if you're currently on a calorie, if you're currently trying to lose weight, if you're anything, if weight loss interests you, you
Yeah.
need to be a part of this. It's totally
Yeah.
free. It's going to be an hour of powerful
Yeah.
conversations, knowledge, information.
Yeah, I'd even say like someone that not necessarily is like, I want to lose weight, but you see that there's a lot of diet noise. You're
Mhm.
still worried about eating at night. You're still like all of those like little things that are going against calorie deficit, just like simple, basic calorie deficit. And you want to start like healing more of your relationship with with food, with your life. The calorie deficit conversation is really important. Like, I truly believe that's what helped me heal so much. Like, I just go back to that, just go back to that. And it's always like not proved like it always like pans out though. Like, it's true. Like, I've lived the experiences, and I hope that people get to live the experience. Speaking of living the experience of calorie deficit and the simplicity of losing weight your way, I'm going to lunch with Jessie today. And Jessie, we had a podcast with her. She is one of our members, but what's special right now is Jessie is actually celebrating 1 year of, I want to say, intentional weight loss, like intentionally being connected to what she wants. The reason why I say that is because if we spoke to Jessie, I think she'd say, well, first of all, Jessie is probably listening. Hi, Jessie.
Hi, Jessie. We
Um,
love
Love you
you.
so much. The reason why I say that is because I think that in her soul, she's like, I've been chasing weight loss for years, 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 years. But the past year is when she's actually put it into action of like, I want this. And so we'd love to like just a little recap of kind of like, it's a year. Like, that is a long time of staying commitment towards what you want, like being intentional, basically. A year of intentions is what she's done.
I mean, just like take a step back, guys, and imagine if you had of for the last 365 days
Mhm.
been actively connected to weight loss, to who you wanted to be, to the habit and lifestyle changes that you're looking for. Like, we need to just like pause and acknowledge how powerful
Mm,
just staying connected can
mhm.
be. And the best part, everyone has access to that.
Yes.
It is totally free. Everyone has time to do that. It's how many minutes of your day? Two?
Oh, two? Yeah, she sends it to me when she goes for her walk. I think the best part, and we spoke about this before we press record, is we're gonna go to the same, we're celebrating, so we're gonna go to the same restaurant and just be like, okay, like we're 1 year later of that conversation. She's lost over 46 pounds, something, anyways, for whatever, which is just incredible. She has probably had 87 concerts and a million trips. And so she lived her life, like she lived her best life. She cannot, like, what we speak every day. She sends me an audio every day during her walk. Maybe in the last year she skipped maybe 10 days in total, like here and there, just like random, like, didn't talk to you yesterday. Here I am again, not like I fucked up yesterday, now it's embarrassing, I'm not going to continue, you know what I mean? That's like the elephant in the room. She's like, oh, forgot yesterday, this was my day yesterday, whatever. She did stay connected to the scale. So she created a really good relationship with the scale. It definitely does help though that she sends me her thoughts, like, here's what's up, whatever. She does not ask me any advice. But if I hear anything in her language, or I see her having doubts or concerns about her journey, that's when I like attack. And I'm like, oh no, like you're not like on a plateau, or you're not, like, no, like you've lost 40 pounds in the last whatever, like your body, give your body a break. Like, I remind her of all the things we would do in a coaching session. Just like our whole message at Your Weight Loss. She listens to our podcast every week. She loves Mondays. She wants us to do one a day. So I mean, and still, this is 1 year later. Like, she has been so consistent. It's insane. So let's go back to a year ago. She's sitting in front of me. Where do you need to be In what mindset do you need to be in order for you to have that kind of success, you think, like 1 year later?
Okay, she wasn't just like, oh, I'd like to lose weight.
Yeah, it would be nice.
It would be nice. I saw that she was ready for change.
Hmm.
She didn't know what exactly that path was going to look like, but all she knew was she didn't want to stay the same. And that's all you need to know is like, I'm not happy. I don't feel comfortable in my skin. And the reasons were about her. Like it was about her and how she felt in her body. And she was ready to do it without dieting.
Hmm.
Like, which is crazy to think that you could lose almost 50 pounds in a year without being on a diet.
Without feeling like you're on a diet.
And if she would have gone, okay, here we go, like I'm gonna do the next thing, she wouldn't be here. Like
No, she would not. Yeah.
she would not be here. She might have lost 20 pounds. She would have gained it back. The
Yeah.
cycle would have continued.
Yeah.
And it's scary to do it, I think, this way for people because there's no like structure, there's no rules.
Because we like when things are controlled. And what was those two words I said last podcast? Like we want, it's like in my book. We want, like we think humans love when we're in control and it's like plannable. There's a word that I use, but and you were saying that, I'm like, oh my God, that's why it's so hard. People like our culture or right now in our society, we're so used to like I have control and I am the one that like it's there's a word. Anyways,
I also think we want the guarantee. And so we
that's
think
what, yes, that's what it was.
if we follow the formula on the internet from the girl that looks good in the bikini,
Mhm.
then I will lose weight.
So it makes me think of like how in this world right now, when someone wants to do a change, all of everyone around is like, what, like, what's next? Where are you going? What? And you're like, I don't, it's okay to just say, I don't know. All I know is I need to go. All I know is this is not okay. I don't know where the fuck I'm going. I don't know what my job will be. I don't know. I just know that where I'm at right now does not feel good to me. It does not feel right. And I think that we don't live in a world where that's normalized. It's like you need to have a plan. If you're going to quit your job, you better have another job waiting. You better like, because it's like that wouldn't be responsible. It's the same thing with dieting. I think it's like, okay, you don't like, but like, what is it going to look like? And, how are you going to suffer for a year type thing? You have to be so like, I'm ready to just build this. Like, I don't know where I'm going, but this is not right.
Because that's the thing is you have to build it. Like I'm sure Jessie tried things that wasn't for her. And so
Yes.
she moved on from it. And then she tried things that were for her. And she's been consistent with that.
Yeah.
And I just love that the way that she built it was like she lives the lifestyle that most of us dream of
Right.
that would never exist with a diet. Like it just could like if
No, they
she
can't
had
coexist.
like if she was counting calories, if she had her food in a Tupperware container, if
Yeah.
she was like, it just wouldn't exist. So
No.
it had to be a way that was for Jessie.
Yeah. And that makes it just makes sense to me. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm
I
not Jesse, it
know.
needs to work for me. We're just so different, all of us. Same for you. Like, it's like, how can that not be clear?
I kept saying in the world there's no magic, and that kind of felt like negative to me. I realized when I was saying that.
Right?
But then what I realized is I just needed an extra word, and there's no universal magic.
Mm.
There's magic for me right now in
Right.
my life.
Yeah.
And when you find the magic, you get momentum and you're consistent and it doesn't feel so hard and you're getting results. That's how you know you're in the magic,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
But what is magic for me is not magic for you or Jessie or anyone else. So it's like that piece where you have to find your own magic.
And you have to be like going back to her, not just being like, oh, it would be nice. Like, she was emotional a year ago and she was not okay. And she was ready to talk about it and say it out loud. And I think that the earlier that you can do that and not spend years pretending like you're fine in your body and then you just keep packing on pounds and feeling because you're hiding, like you are allowed to be like, this is not what I want. And it's not about like, and she was so scared to say that out loud that her body was stopping her because she knows how much her life is amazing and she loves her life. And she's like, I don't want to be ungrateful. And I'm like, this has nothing to do with gratefulness and gratitude. You need, like, this is about you not actually listening, like not just letting that pass through. Like you deserve to be like, oh, something is uncomfortable inside. Like I have some internal conflict here with my life, but also how I feel in my skin.
And
Um,
it's scary to let those thoughts in. Like
yeah,
that was literally me 10 years ago before
yeah,
I started. Like I was like, I had this nagging feeling about how I was feeling in my body, and I kept just like pushing it away, pushing it away, pushing it away, because I knew that if I let it in, then I would have to like kind of deal with it.
yeah.
And it's
There's
like
always that chance of failure.
that's the piece.
There's always the chance of failure, which sucks, you know?
But then I just think we need to redefine success and
Oh
failure.
my God.
Like, what
Yeah.
is failure? Like,
Especially with this journey. And here's the thing. That's what I hate about like the fact that weight loss is like so like black and white, like minuses on a scale. And then the minute you have a plus, it's like that's failure in a weight loss journey. And I'm like, no, we need to redefine what a weight loss journey looks like and feels like. And that's what we need to redefine. And we need women to not think that feeling like shit or not putting themselves first is like the right thing to do or the noble thing to do. Like you are as important as the next person in your life. And like there's no reason why you should be pushing that aside at all. Okay, so one interesting part about Jessie right now is her weight has like kind of just like stayed the same for the past, like I want to say month, 2 months. And we were just having a conversation and she's like, you know what, maybe this is like phase two. And I'm like, I think it is. And what I mean by that, and I think it's important, is just where it's been so authentic to her, you guys. She said, I don't want to say it's easy, but I'm like, no, it was just natural. It was just natural to you. You were ready for those changes. And before I forget, the biggest change for her was listening to her hunger. And whenever she loses sight of that, she just goes right back to that. She did not do anything else that is special. She listens to her hunger and is like, no, I'm not going to sit down and eat a full meal. I am not even hungry. She just like realized how often she was consuming food when she was not hungry. And she connects to that all the time. Also, as you get thinner and smaller and your everything shrinks, you just like aren't as hungry as, you know what I mean? Like if a person is 400 pounds versus 120 pounds, like that person's probably not as hungry all the time as someone that is so used to like always feeding themselves. But then hunger is like also an interesting conversation.
yeah. And it's, but your body requires less energy as
Yeah,
well,
it
right?
does. Yeah, exactly.
Like
Depending on
Jessie
the,
living her
yeah,
life today, if she was living at doing the exact same thing she was a year ago today, her body requires less energy to function.
function. Yeah. So I told her, I said, you know, this is you've lost almost 50 pounds. Let's just go 50, you know, you've almost lost 50 pounds in a year, which is insane. I want her to just not force the next 10, the next 20, the next whatever. Don't force anything. It was so well done. Like her journey was so well done. I'm like, don't fuck it up now. Don't think that you need to continue there. Like it's the second year is going to look different. If we sit next year and you're 10 pounds lighter, you know, you lost 10 pounds in the second year, that is so like that is incredible. Like the fact that we can spend another year and you are, you know, you continued being intentional, you continued whatever journey you wanted to do. Like you should also be the exact same. That would also be incredible. Unless she feels just connected and controlled, and this is what I wanted and all was good. I always say that. Like I'm not impressed. I'm not easily impressed by weight loss. I'm impressed by like long term, like come see me in 5 years. If we're still talking 5 years and you're still feeling the same about this and that and blah, 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 then that was real. But like what you've accomplished in 2 months, I'm like, we need to, awesome. But the sustainability is what I want to see. The authenticity behind your behaviors is what I want to see.
And the message too from that, and I've had that moment several times over the
Yes.
last couple years, is like,
For
okay,
sure.
this is what I'm getting right now with my efforts. Do I want to do more? Like we lose sight, we're on a weight loss journey of like, okay, now what? All right, the scale's stalled. Where do I eat less? Where do blah, 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 blah. And like it's like pause. You don't have you don't have to. Like I don't care if you're a size 10, a size 20. I don't
No,
care what you weigh or what you look like.
you don't
There
have to.
you don't have to. Like you are in charge of being like I'm really happy and content with my lifestyle right now, and my body feels enough. Like I'm just happy.
Listen, though, to be able to do that, you have to have a conversation with yourself. You have to have a relationship with your life.
Yeah.
Like that's what I was saying earlier. Like you can't be losing weight on this side and forgetting about your life. Like that's actually the priority right now. So it's like, okay, do I like my life? I realize that my life and the way I live it is doing this with my body, with my weight, whatever. Um, how does this all come together? Like, and you have to have your back, like as a human, like you have to be like, okay, well, I have my life's back, not just my weight loss journey's back, you know? And I
Yeah.
told her, I said, you could literally be in phase one. Phase one could continue for like the next 5 years. Like I don't, phase two could be next year, in 10 years, it doesn't matter. It's when you feel like, oh, it's when you almost, hopefully not to the point of where she was a year ago, but you feel like you want different. You're ready for different. You're like, oh, I'm ready to like try this and do this. And like you're enjoying it. It needs to be natural. Because I told her like I was like 220 and got to 165. I was 165, 170 for at least a decade, for sure a decade. And I thought that was done. And then all of a sudden it's like the lifestyle was just always the same and I was ready for more. And then that gave me whatever. So and that was a decade. So like this could be it. Like this is all that you wanted. Like Jessie 1 year ago sitting, and I'll be like, in 1 year, you're almost 50 pounds lighter. She would have been like, yes, please sign me up. Where do I sign? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I can't
Yeah.
guarantee that to anyone.
I know.
And that's what people, this society that we have, we want control and guarantee. And I am sorry, but there's not even a guarantee that you wake up tomorrow. Like, do people realize that? Like, there's no guarantee to anything. Like, you don't know anything. So just like breathe and go and do whatever feels right to you. Like, you don't need to know where you're going. You don't even know. No one knows. People like to pretend, but we don't know. So,
No.
oh, so good. Okay.
So many lessons there, guys. So many
So many
lessons.
lessons. Such good
And
conversation, Leash.
oh, I know.
I love it so much.
I think that this is just the conversation we're gonna have to keep having. There's a lot of
Yeah.
work to do out there. I see it still.
Like almost like more than ever, which makes me sad. It's like more than ever just because like more people come up with stupid shit to lose weight. Like I'm like, oh my God, like because it's like we're fighting, like, okay, we've like you now realize that gummies are dumb. Okay, cool. Okay, now we're back to calorie deficit. Oh, this new thing. Now we're doing cream. Okay, now there's this, you know what I mean? Like it's like, oh my God, it's all over the internet all the time. Like, and people like it's weight loss is a million dollar industry. So anything they can sell you to tell you that you're going to guarantee some sort of weight loss. And listen, short-term weight loss can be guaranteed. Like this week, you can
Easy,
whatever. Yeah, you
easy.
need to be the adult, you guys. You need to be like, well, what about next year? What about you need to fall in love with sustainability and authenticity. You need to fall in love with your life and be like, well, this is ridiculous. Like you need to have your back. Yeah.
Stability is the new sexy.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Okay.
what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Stability.
Stability. Okay, well, that was great. Have a fantastic day, you guys. You want to sign up for our Power Hour. The link is in the show notes. And we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye.
Bye, guys.